How you doing, peeps? It's Plod or Not Plod. I'm just coming into my next location, okay, which is Avon and Somerset, okay, Patchway Police Station, okay, or Patchway Police Station, whichever way you want to pronounce it. So this is my first Avon and Somerset, so yeah, let's see what's what. So looks like fairly new building. From there, not the biggest car parks that I've seen so far. So yeah, so let's just see what happens, and that's all we can do. So they can stand there. Okay, now they're running in to get someone. Okay, so that means there's a secondary entrance that the cars actually come out from. So yeah. So let's just find out what's what. And that's what we'll do. So that's what we will do. Right.
What's the filming then, buddy?
Pardon?
What's for the filming?
Well, who are you?
Oh no, I'm just a member of public. I'm just curious.
Okay. I know, I just film all public services.
Oh, right, okay.
So to make, it's like, as you know, the police are there to serve and protect the public.
Yeah.
And it's just to actually make sure that what they're doing is they uphold our rights to do a lawful activity.
Oh, right, okay. Good luck with that.
No worries, have a good one, buddy. A nice member of the public just came over and just asked what it was I was doing. So yeah, so it was quite pleasant. This one can't even get out the gate. So you can make it in the police force, guys, if you can actually get yourself out of the gate. So
Are you just ordered it?
well, if you want to talk to me, please don't talk to me through a fence.
I'm trying to, but my pass is working too late, baby. I'll see if I can come around the front, if that's right.
That's fine. So if you can make it through that fence, you can become a sergeant. How he became a sergeant and he couldn't get through the fence, I don't know. So will that sergeant come round or will he not? That is the actual question. And yes, he has. So let's just find out.
Sorry about that.
That's right, no worries. Well, first of all, would you mind just identifying yourself properly for me, please?
Yeah, Sergeant Jason Pell 4086.
4086.
086.
No worries. And are you attached to this station here?
Yeah, duty sergeant.
No worries. Cool.
Just wondering, what's your business today?
My business is doing a completely lawful activity.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'll just querying because it's a police site. I'm just wondering if that's what you're doing. If that's what it is, I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, well, it's a public service. And seeing as though you're on duty and you're in uniform, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. First one is, if you were to see another officer actually breach somebody's rights, what would you do? What would be the first thing you would do?
You stop it.
You'd stop it, okay? Would you do anything else apart from stop it?
There's obviously process and procedures behind it, but obviously you need to react to what's there in front of you and do the right thing, don't you?
Okay, so the right thing would be, in which way would you report it?
It depends on the circumstances, doesn't it? What's going on from that
Well,
point.
if you've seen anyone taking away somebody's rights, okay, and them abusing their rights.
That's two different things though, isn't it? So obviously we're allowed to take people's certain rights away from them, but obviously there's a difference between abusing people's rights. So obviously we take people's right to liberty when we arrest them, don't we?
Well, that all depends on whether or not it's a lawful arrest or not.
True.
So if it wasn't a lawful arrest and you could see that, then what would you do?
Then you go have a conversation and figure out what's going on.
Okay, and then if that officer then carried on with it, and what would you do then if they brought them into custody and you could then actually see that it wasn't a lawful arrest?
But that's not as clear as day as what you're trying to say, is it? Because I might not see what's going on there, especially my role as a sergeant.
Well, if if your officer presented the evidence to you,
yeah.
okay, and you can see that there was no sense in that evidence, and it wasn't right, and they were actually wrong, okay, then what would you do?
You'd have to investigate what's going on and what's happening, wouldn't you?
Okay, so how would you, as the custody sergeant, then actually investigate?
I'm not a
that?
custody sergeant, so I wouldn't be dealing with
Okay, duty sergeant. Yeah. So then, what would your officers then have to do if they could see that?
What they have to do, then we try and rectify it and see what we need to do.
But in what way would you rectify it? I know you said investigate, but how would you actually investigate? Would you question that officer? Would you not question that officer?
Well, we've already done that, as you said, by them telling us the information and what's happened and the legality of it. Any officer who does an arrest has to have the necessities from there, otherwise they wouldn't get into custody and we wouldn't have rights to do it.
Okay, and then I'll ask you another one. As you know, Section 44 of the Terrorism Act got revoked some time ago.
Right.
Okay, and right now in the UK, Section 43 is abused every single day by a number of officers. Okay, just to obtain people's details and to detain them for doing a completely lawful thing. Now, if you actually seen somebody doing something and you knew it was lawful, okay, and you've seen an officer try and pull out Section 43, okay, just to obtain their details, or Section 50 of the antisocial behaviour, okay, then what would you do?
If I knew it was unlawful, I'd go over there, tell them it was incorrect, and then try and rectify it.
Okay, so when you look at Section 43, okay, what would you class as being unlawful about Section 43 if they just pulled it out and then actually detained the person?
So I don't really get what the question is.
Right. Do you know what an officer must have, okay, regarding Section 43, and it's clear as day in Section 43?
Not off the top of my head, no. To be totally honest with you, it's not a part of the law that I totally go upon. I would go away, research it, find out, and then see if it was right or wrong. I'm not going to lie to you and say I know it off the top of my head. There's many laws out there.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, and you're being honest with that, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Because it actually states clearly that you have to have reasonable suspicion, and to have that reasonable suspicion, okay, that person has to have been, okay, under some form of watch, okay, for that to actually be enforced. Okay, and that's where a lot of officers are actually using that. And also section 50, okay, even though it's like standing here absolutely doing nothing, right, they can try and pull section 50 out just to actually say that you have to give details, right. And under section 50, do you know section 50 of the antisocial behaviour?
I haven't touched upon it for a little while now.
Okay, you haven't touched upon that. Okay, so if you actually had an officer that was out, right, and they were trying to use the law and they didn't know which law to use, what would they do?
They'll come speak to us, we will then discuss it.
But if they're out and you're in, what do? They
radio.
They radio through. So when you look at the actual training that officers are given, okay, is that training enough for what they're actually doing in their job?
You're going into a whole different realm now, aren't we?
I know, it's a straightforward question, okay? If you've got officers out on the street and they're there to actually uphold the law, right, but yet they have to radio through, it's a very simple question, okay? The training in which your officers, okay, and this just isn't your force, this is all forces across the UK, right, are they being given enough training to fulfil their job?
There's enough training to fulfil the job, yes.
There's enough training, okay? So do you mind if I ask how long you've been in the force for?
6 years.
6 years, okay. So in that 6 years, have you seen a big change in the way that things are done training wise?
Well, of course, yes.
Okay. Is it more or less time now that they actually get?
To what? Sorry.
From when you first joined up, how long did you actually get in your training?
In training, what are you looking? 20 weeks, 3 months, about 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months, okay. And what do they currently get?
The same thing.
You sure?
In the PCDA program, yeah.
Okay.
They're at UE or uni for quite a bit. They get the courses, the same content within the AIM Somerset. I have to say that it's different from everyone else.
Yep.
It's the same content. It's the same trainers in some aspects doing the training. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's much different. But is there anything else? Because I'm being called on my radio. Is there anything else I can sort of?
You're being called on your radio. Okay. Well, I'm engaging with you as a member of the public.
I get that, but this is turned into an interview where I'll then have to go to sort of corporate comms and get authorisation from them, which I don't really want to take anything down from whatever you're doing. I don't want you to stop you doing your auditing, whatever you need to do, but I do have sort of...
But then do you think it's right just to actually ignore a member of the public when you're engaged with them?
I'm not ignoring you. I've totally engaged with you throughout the process, haven't I?
Yeah, well...
But you're trying to turn this into an interview.
No. Well, no.
I'm happy to chat with you.
As a member of the public, I have the right to actually talk to whatever officer is actually on duty and in uniform.
Yeah.
Okay. So you done a lot of nodding with your head, okay, but that is outright. That is my rights.
And we've also got a right to carry out our duty to the other members of the public and carry out our work. If a conversation then starts to lead into stop people working for, say, a victim that's happening at the moment or crimes that are going on, then we need to carry on with that work. Otherwise, if your family member was a victim of something and then you realise the fact is their crime wasn't being progressed because someone was being asked some questions, you'd kind of ask, well, how come, what's going on?
Well, I'll give you one last question then.
Okay.
One last question. Okay. When you look at officers actually on the street, okay, now going back, we had home beat officers and stuff like that on the streets.
Okay.
Right. When you look now at officers and you look at the level of officers actually walking the beat, right, and especially the way that fuel prices are at the moment, instead of just sitting in cars with the engine going, okay, keeping a computer going, would you like to see more officers actually engaged with the public on the streets?
I just think we're quite engaged with people on the streets anyway.
But would you like to see more actually walking the beat? Okay, everywhere you look all over the country, you've got these super police stations that they've built, okay, and they've shut all the small ones down. Right. So it takes longer now to get to a certain area, okay, for officers. Right. Understandable that they need cars to do that, but then when you look at your local area, okay, do you feel that they need more officers actually walking the beat in your local area?
I think it's quite clear from the recruitment process the fact that we need more officers. That's why the Home Office has done the recruitment drive. We need more officers on the street, as in out and about. The capacity of crimes is through the roof of what we've ever seen. It's unprecedented from that point. We always need more officers. We all need more people. So if you ever want to apply, by all means, the options there. Well, it is. If you want
no. That's fair play. That's fair play. No, that's fair play. That's fair play.
Is that we need people from all walks of life,
Yeah.
and having more people on the street can only help. Being out on the street is a luxury that we can't afford at the moment because of the capacity we're at.
Okay, but then when you then look at that, okay, and you look across the whole board,
Yeah.
right, what would you actually put first? Okay, if a member of the public called you from their house, okay, or whether or not a business called you, okay, but yet it was the exact same thing that was going on, right, which one would be attended to?
It's all down to threat harm risk.
If it was the exact same, okay, the levels were the exact same, okay, would they be sent to a business first or would they be sent to a house first?
It's a difficult question to answer because it depends on, say you've got a fight at both addresses,
Yep.
per se,
Yep.
they'll both be dispatched at the same time.
Okay, but if you only had one unit and it was in the middle, where would it go to, the business or the house? And as I said, identical, okay, so you already said fight, so we'll use it as a fight, so where would you go with it?
I honestly wouldn't know. You'd be looking to dispatch two people at the same time and getting them from somewhere else. Is the honest answer behind that. You wouldn't be prioritising a business over a person. Because it may say business, but you still got people having a victim and a crime. It's not, you're trying to compare, say, criminal damage to a house compared to criminal damage to someone's car. Do you know what I'm trying to say with that side of things? You've got business from that. More than likely, you'd probably go to a domestic further because that was and is our priority to victims of domestic abuse from that side. But you wouldn't be going, oh, that's a business, we'll leave them to it. You'd still be prioritising and getting units there when we can.
Yep.
But it's difficult to comprehend with that because it's never as simple as two people fighting, and then you've got two people fighting at
Okay,
address
no,
from that
that's
point.
fair enough. That's fair enough. Right, that's cool. The only thing I'd actually say, and this is just a nice bit of advice, as you already said, where I quoted two laws and you said that you were unsure.
Yep.
What I would say, as a serving officer, okay, please do look it up.
Oh,
okay,
I know it's
and
on
actually
my,
go
it's on
through
my,
it,
one of my
and
lists to
then
go back
you-
and just quickly
and
brush
then,
up on
and
them.
then you'll actually see what I'm actually talking
appreciate
about to
that.
do with that, because the more the officers know,
Yep.
the easier it becomes working with the public, okay, and actually getting it right.
I'll be
That's
honest.
the main thing.
No, I totally get it. I'll be honest. I've never, with the 6 years service, seen officers using those powers to gain details. We go speak to people, engage people, and try and get those details. But as anything I say to my staff, actually, if you don't know something, tell them you don't know it. Go back and research it. It's not the fact that I have heard of it. I'm just not au fait with it because there's so many different things going on with laws, etc., changes that. I will always make sure I've got the right information, so I'll definitely go back and get there. But
No, that's
thank you
cool.
for speaking with me.
No
What
worries.
was
Thank
your
you very
name?
much.
Just so
Okay.
I don't-
On that account, I will actually pass if you don't mind.
That's fine. It was just being
Okay?
polite. That's all.
No worries. Can I say, have a lovely afternoon.
You
Okay.
too, bud.
Take it easy.
Have a good
Okay, and look after yourself. Okay. So that was actually quite pleasant, guys. And as you've seen, the guy was quite open, quite honest. Okay, there were a couple of laws, i.e. to do with the Terrorism Act and to do with Section 50, that he was unsure of. And then, as I said, I just gave him that friendly bit of advice at the end, just why he's actually in the job, just to actually go in, research it and make sure that he gets it right, so it actually helps the public. So, and that to me is what it's all about. So, and if they can get that right, and if they can not uphold, and they can actually uphold people's rights, then that's fantastic, and everything's all job done and all good. So, So what I do, guys, is I'll leave it there, and I'll walk down to the other side, just see if anything comes out. Do take it easy, be good. If anything else does happen, I'll come back, but if not, I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy, peeps.